go, we're going to do tinting in iOS. Are you ready? This is tinting in iOS. So, as you may recall, in our last episode in iOS, we had, before things went terribly wrong in Android, we had an image inside of the asset catalog, and it was called the divide image, and it was a nice old raster image that wasn't giving us a lot of difficulty like we were getting in Android, and we retrieved that in the main view controller here, and maybe I can get divide. Here it is, divide, divide, divide. Add a divide button. This is good. And so here's what we did. We did this divide button dot set image to the image which we retrieved from the bundle. Now that bundle image was black, and it was a black image, and it would be really nice if we could go back to the easy layout mobile calc. It would be nice if when we click these guys, it should have been doing something. When I click that, I would like it to turn white anyway. I think white would be good. That's what we do on the Windows calculator anyway, I think. When I click those, well, when I mouse over it, it turns white, and when I click it, it should turn white. So what I think we want to do is tint this thing, and we could try just tinting it without even worrying about the on-click. So let's do that. We've got this image, and to do the tinting thing, we're going to do image dot something mode, rendering mode, image with rendering mode. And the rendering mode is always template, which means we're now supporting templating, and that's going to return a templated image, or maybe we could call it a tintable image. And this tintable image is what we want to use instead of that. And now tintable image dot tint dot wait a minute. Okay, I remember we can do it in the button itself, I think. Now that that's a tintable image, we ought to be able to say divide button dot tint color equals UI color dot orange, of course. And with any luck, when we build this for an iPhone simulator and an iOS 6, something along those lines, with any luck, we'll have something work well tonight, and we'll get out some tinted orange, and then the trick will be on tap. How do you change the tint color? And this is, it's gonna be orange. It's gonna be orange. Wait, it's gonna be amazing. There we go. Yay. Tinting. We've got tinting, but we can do better. We can do better than that, because if I added a divide button dot, nope, okay. We've got an add events in here. Maybe it's not called add events. Maybe it's called, oh. Sometimes when I'm doing this, I call these methods add events and remove events or something, but that's okay. We want divide dot, what's it called? Divide, button divide dot touch up up inside would be a touch. Is there a touch down? Touch down. Yeah. We would touch down. Button divide on touch down. That sounds good. And I bet we want a touch up. I don't know the difference between inside and outside. I bet we want both. I think the difference between inside and outside is there's like, you can have a little border and you can tap on the outside of the border. And right now, if we do on touch down, it will be including the border thing and it won't include. Let's just try and break it. I bet we can break this and find out exactly what doesn't work. So we've got two new methods, and now, not later, is the right time to do the unsubscription. Before I forget, so that I do not commit the cardinal sin in iOS or Android by not unsubscribing. So now when we divide, button divide, of course, dot tint color on, now this is on touch up inside, so that's when you're moving your finger back up. So we want to return that back to black. And when you touch down, we want it to go to white. And we're going to get rid of the orange. There's a much cleaner way to do this, but let's just see what happens. And I'm telling you, this time it's just going to zoom. It's going to zoom by and it's going to work. And it's going to be incredible. Oops. Yes, don't care about Android. Android, go away. Blue. Blue? Oh, doesn't that look nice? I'm pretty happy with that. Now, curious, can we get it to... Oops. No, I guess that was good enough. We can't get it to break. I was curious if I could just put the cursor right at the very edge, if I could get that to break. We do need to fix the blue, and probably, and that's kind of a commit point, right? Ignore all that Android stuff that wasn't working. I'm going to commit the main view controller, so tinting is working. I'll push this right up for any live viewers who want to get into that. That looks good, right? So what we did here was we did a image with rendering mode to retrieve a brand new image that is tintable, and then we set that into the button, and then we did a couple touch down and touch ups, and we just changed the tint color. So tinting is working, except it's blue. On load. And I think a much nicer way to do this would be i.tint color equals. This kind of code bothers me, and it smells to me anytime that you're like setting something twice. If you're setting something twice, I just feel like you're doing it wrong. And so a much cleaner way to do this for me would be to have a private void set button tint, and bool is pressed. And then what we want to do is convert is pressed into a color. So we have a bar color equals, and if is pressed, then, and maybe you're, maybe you're wondering why I say this, but it just, I've seen so many bugs in my lifetime, in almost 20 years of doing software development. I've seen so many bugs where this gets called and you're expecting this to get called, but it doesn't, or things just get out of sync. Like this is it's a very clean way of doing things, because it only ever gets set once, and it's, what's the word, special word for it, something you can call it multiple times and it's not a big deal. Is pressed. If it is pressed, we want it to be white. Else we want it to be UI color.black, and then equals color. So on touch down, is pressed is true, and is pressed equals false. And then the solving of the blue problem happens when we set button tint. Maybe we can do this up here. Set this would be a lot cleaner too if it was static. And UI button and we had a divide button as a parameter, because we're going to want to reuse this capability for other things later. And that is much cleaner. And now we're setting it to is pressed equals false. And I don't know if you find that hard to read, but is pressed false reads a lot better to me. And that way we just say what it is we're trying to do. We're trying to set the button tint of the divide button to is pressed false. And that reads like a sentence to me, which is really nice. I really do like it when code reads like a sentence. Just clean up some unused usings. I'm going to hit F5. We're going to see that it's not blue to begin with. The tinting is going to work beautifully. And we can call that a night. So we're going to refactoring and removing blue and blue initial tint color, because we didn't specify a tint color. So if you do tinting and you don't specify a tint color, bad things happen. And there we go. That is looking very nice. Refactoring and remove initial blue initial tint color. Done. All right. All right, there we go. Well, thank you for bearing with me through this challenging episode number 7, where very little went right, but we did get tinting in the end in iOS, and that is something to be excited for. So thank you for joining. Have a wonderful week. Please subscribe in the YouTube channel and ping me on Twitter at lpritchar if you have any comments about the show, directions you'd like to go. And for example, I'm thinking next week about just doing a primer on 3D printing, because it's something I'm excited about. If you're excited about it too, let's do it together. Let's do something fun. So that is all I've got. Thanks for joining and have a wonderful week.